Check 1 2. Check, check, check. Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I am your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We have a lot to discuss today. I know I've been putting off having guests back in the new year, not for any other reason, just that we had a lot of catch-up to do, but that will resume shortly, so have no fear. We're going to catch up on some comments that we received since the last broadcast. That's coming up in just a second. We've got some updates on New York State as well as local. I did want to, before I mention some of the comments that we received, this is an update from a story that we mentioned yesterday. In the Rochester, New York crash at the Kodak Center, investigators are saying they've identified no connection to terrorism in that crash near the Kodak Center. The suspect, whom officials identified as 35-year-old Michael Avery from Syracuse, died, law enforcement officials have said. Officials on Tuesday morning, yesterday, found no evidence that Avery acted on political or social biases in the incident in which two vehicles, one laden with gas canisters, crashed before plowing into the crowd outside the concert at Rochester's Kodak Center in, of course, Rochester. Okay, just wanted to give you that update. Let's get to the comments. Since yesterday's show, we are going to hit the ground running. Here we go. First one. Greetings, Frank, and Happy New Year to you and all those behind the scenes that make this program possible. And, of course, Hesselsons. Yes, of course, Hesselsons. We thank Hesselsons for all that they do here, and we're proud to be broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. But thank you for the kind words, and I will pass that along to everyone here. Also, in reference, and yesterday, if you didn't join us, we had a great discussion back and forth, and you see the number on the bottom of your screen. By the way, I did get a virtual wave. If you have anything you would like to discuss, please let me know. But we had a great discussion on minimum wage. So in reference to the minimum wage increase, this is from a viewer, I think we can agree that while an increase is desirable, everyone will pay more for goods and services because businesses will not absorb the extra burden, and the people who are already struggling will cut out the extras. So I wonder how many more businesses will potentially fail, playing right into the plan, in my opinion. Well, I know that it will definitely make some businesses question whether to stay here because you're tying it in together with the business climate, but also public safety. We talked about the shoplifting in the past as well. So it's definitely, I think, a major concern for big businesses and small businesses alike here in New York. We're going to dive more into New York State in a little bit. If you have your opinion on the increase in minimum wage, which went up to $15 as of January 1st here in upstate New York, at $14.20 last year, so an 80 cents per hour increase. We also received this message. The only way we have to stop tyranny is to bring awareness to strangers. Instead of speaking in hushed tones at a local tavern, make sure you confidently share your thoughts with strangers. You will soon see how many are awake and how few are woke. You will quickly hear how many people are disgusted with the way our country has been turned upside down politically, economically, socially, and spiritually. We have been manipulated into a Picasso painting full of insecurity, shame, fear, distraction, distrust, and misdirection. Finally, this country was founded by a few very wise men speaking in loud spirits at a local tavern, having some spirits as well. Speak up, wake up, not woke down. The more you practice free speech, the better you will get at it. Very true. Don't fall for the fashionable. You may discover in the end the emperor has no clothes. So thank you for the comments, everyone. You can keep them coming in. Another virtual wave. Look at that. We are really loaded for bear this morning. When we come back from our first break, I do have an update on Steuben County. If you recall, we've been talking about this extensively with Sheriff Allard. There's not necessarily an update on Sheriff Allard that I have received, but there is an update on what the legislature now looks like. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselsons Hot Tub. Hesselsons has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselsons offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselsons carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsons Hot Tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsons.
Tired of that pan that always sticks? It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick and they're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie or this whole chicken dinner. Use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips right out. Plus the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Get the full 9 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
Call 1-800-608-1538 or go to buyhammered.com.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. This is Frankly Speaking. I'm your host, Frank Acom. So an update from Steuben County. First of all, legislator Joe Tobia from Corning was on this program numerous times during the election season. Shannon Logsden from Wayland-Cohocton and William Thew from the Avoca Fremont Howard Wheeler area took their oaths of office before the Honorable Philip Roach yesterday before joining 14 legislators on the county board. In other official action, this is why I mention it, because this name had come up in the past. It was Van that there was some issue there with Sheriff Aller. You recall what we were talking about, that he was the one releasing the statements. Well, he is no longer the chair. County legislator Kelly Fitzpatrick from Bath was elected the legislator's chair, and legislator James Kuhl from Irwin was selected as its vice chair. Both have been elected for 2-year terms. And finally, county legislator Gary Swackhammer from Hornell City was elected the board's majority leader, being a Republican, while county legislator Hilda Lando was chosen as its minority leader. So there's an update on Steuben County. Let's get to, you know what, normally we end with a lot of quick stories, but I think this morning we're going to start with a lot of quick stories. Yes, if we get an opportunity, I would like to, kind of to the viewer's point that I just read earlier, about this kind of woke culture, right? And where we see that, unfortunately, leading on college campuses, which is to this very troubling rot and this very troubling strain of anti-Semitism. Well, since that time, there's been a lot of back and forth with various presidents of universities. Well, Harvard's President Gay, she has resigned. Harvard University President Claudine Gay resigned on Tuesday. So we will talk a little bit about that. A couple updates on the 2024 presidential election. I would be shocked if we don't have, from now until Election Day and after, at least some discussion of the presidential race every single day. So buckle in. But we try to keep it as local as possible. That's why we bring you Steuben County issues, and we do have New York issues as well. But first, the United States national debt has now topped $34 trillion for the first time in history. We've been talking about this outrageous spending for quite some time, and even before this program, I think many of us recognized with some of what President Biden has pushed through, the infrastructure bill, but also you look at something like the attempt, anyway, to raise school loans. The cost continues. The U.S. national debt topped $34 trillion for the first time ever, crossing a critical milestone at a time when government spending is already under scrutiny. And this is coming from Fox News. And I agree, it is under scrutiny from certain circles, but there's some in Washington that are saying this is no problem at all. If anything, we're not spending enough. The national debt is expected to nearly double in size over the next 3 decades. Wow. According to the latest findings from the Congressional Budget Office, at the end of 2022, the national debt grew to about 97% of gross domestic product. Under current law, that figure is expected to skyrocket to 181% at the end of 2053, a debt burden that will far exceed any previous levels. Even more worrisome, if you add on this again coming from Fox News, is that the spike in interest rates over the past year and a half has made the cost of servicing the national debt even more expensive. Where do you hear these numbers? And I should have had them up on the screen. But that is because interest rate rises, the federal government's borrowing costs on its debt will also increase. Making sense, right? In fact, interest payments on the national debt are projected to be the fastest growing part of the federal budget over the next 3 decades. Payments are expected to triple from nearly $475 billion in fiscal year 2022 to a stunning $1.4 trillion in 2032. We're talking about that's just interest payments. By 2053, the interest payments are projected to surge to $5.4 trillion. To put that into perspective, that would be more than the U.S. spends on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and all other mandatory and discretionary spending programs. So we have now reached whatever kind of milestone you want to call it, $34 trillion in national debt. Let's take a break on that note. Catch our breath. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this. Stay with us.
Save big on better sleep at Raymore & Flanigan's year-end mattress sale. Get hundreds off top brands, up to $400 off Purple, up to $400 off Beauty Rest Black, and 40% off Nectar. Get the mattress of your dreams and sleep better for as little as $15 a month with no deposit and no interest for 72 months. Mattresses are in stock and ready for free next-day delivery and removal. Don't wait. The year-end mattress sale is on now at Raymore & Flanigan.
If you struggle to keep up with conversations, if you have trouble hearing the TV or radio, Nano Hearing Aids wants to help you hear better. Because when you hear better, you're actually going to feel better and live a happier, even healthier life. And Nano Hearing Aids is offering not one, but two very special, possibly once-in-a-lifetime offers. Special offer number one, when you buy any Nano OTC hearing aid, Nano will give you a pair of personal sound amplifiers absolutely free. If you have a little trouble hearing but don't need a hearing aid, these are great. Special offer two, today Nano is offering an amazing deal on their CIC Recharge OTC hearing aids. Today you can order a full pair of completely in-canal Recharge OTC hearing aids for only $297. Plus, Nano offers great financing. Payments from only $26.81 a month. That's around 88 cents a day. But supplies are limited, so call now.
1-800-759-6001.
The Nano CIC Recharge OTC hearing aids are extremely easy to use, and they're nearly invisible. And since they're completely in canal, nothing shows on the back of your ear. So most people will never even see them. And today you can purchase a pair of fully rechargeable CIC Recharge OTC hearing aids for only $297. This is one amazing deal, but Nano has a second incredible deal. Because when you buy a Nano CIC Recharge at the low price of $297, Nano will give you a pair of Nano personal sound amplifiers free. So you'll get both a pair of OTC hearing aids and a pair of personal sound amplifiers for only $297. That's $297 for both. Payments on the CIC Recharge start at $26.81 a month. That's 88 cents a day. But remember, supplies are limited. Once they're gone, this offer is gone and will not be repeated. So call now.
1-800-759-6001. 1-800-759-6001.
Looking at that beautiful view of Market Street, a little extra time for you this morning. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. Thank you to everybody who have been reaching out on this program. And yesterday, too, we had lively discussions. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. One person saying we are like the virtual tavern. I agree, with a lot less cussing, but we are very much like a tavern. But you can reach out right there at that number. I like this. 500 credit score, government policy people. Yeah. Yes, the government policy people, the geniuses behind the scenes. Wouldn't it be interesting to see their credit score? Spending like they have it. Yeah, it's other people's money. That's very easy to spend, I suppose. Like the saying goes, you can't take it with you. I guess not. That's how the government is spending. And speaking, since someone had mentioned this is like a virtual tavern, well, I guess you could say the government was a proverbial sailor at that tavern. Spending like a drunken sailor. $34 trillion, our national debt. So a couple other quick stories before we dive in depth on a few. Another House Republican is planning an early exit from Congress. We know McCarthy departed at the end of last year. Now Representative Bill Johnson is planning on an earlier than expected departure this month to become president of Youngstown State University. Now, why is this important? He's out of Ohio. Why should we focus on this? Well, Johnson's resignation will leave House Republicans down yet another vote as they try to pass key spending bills with a razor-thin majority. Republicans will be down to just 219 seats to the Democrats' 213 once Johnson leaves. He submitted his letter of resignation on Tuesday. Peterson said, and this is coming from, by the way, Axios, Peterson said Johnson's resignation will take effect on January the 21st and that he will begin work at the university the next day. So here's a scenario where he's giving the government his 2-week notice. That's interesting. Well, I guess you kind of saw that with McCarthy. Anyway, another update for you on this morning's Frankly Speaking. Oh, speaking of updates, Senator Bob Menendez has been charged with receiving gifts from Qatar or Qatar, depending on where you watch your news. In new allegations in corruption scheme, federal prosecutors allege Senator Bob Goldbars Menendez accepted race car tickets and other gifts from Qatar as part of a years-long corruption scheme. Just an update. I'm not going to go through all of this. I don't think there's a lot of surprise here. I think the biggest, the optics-wise, not the first go around on this. He got away that first time. Or found guilty, I shouldn't say got away. That's a biased way of saying it. He was found not guilty the first time. But then when you found gold bricks, that's a whole nother case. Gold bricks, and that's why people have said he shouldn't be on the committees on foreign policy because of this information alone. Interesting. Just another update. Okay, New York. I promised you I'd bring up some New York State issues. How are we doing on time? We're doing just fine. Again, the number on the bottom of the screen if you'd like to weigh in on any of these. Bob Menendez. Republicans losing another. And it'll be interesting because Santos, they might have actually said this in this article, when is Santos's seat up? Okay, that special election is going to take place February the 13th. I know they're both parties spending a lot of money there. Representative Brian Higgins, a Democrat from New York, is planning to step down to take a role at a performing arts center in his Buffalo-based district. There's some back and forth going on here. All right. 6 issues that could be at the top of New York lawmakers' to-do list. We're going to go through this quickly because I do want to talk about Harvard. I also want to talk about 2024 as well. And then maybe a few other cases. There's a lot of, and I'm not saying wishful thinking at all. Speaking of 2024, there's just a lot of articles I've seen in the last few days which are, could the Supreme Court actually decide against Trump on this? And I have one today that is written with immense bias, but I think it's important to take a look at what all sides are having to say on that issue. So we are going to talk about New York State when we come back. I do want to take a short break. Again, there's a phone number on the bottom of the screen. Please reach out, comment on today's topics. If there's anything that you would like to say, I try to get to as many of them as I possibly can. But I don't want to get too far behind because this New York issue could take just a second. And we're going to have guests coming on shortly, like I know I keep promoting, but trust me, it's happening. I've had the conversation with them. Some of them been Phil Palmisano, who's obviously busy. Everybody in New York getting preparing for what is coming down the pipeline. So we will have him on shortly to talk about energy, but also to talk about what's happening in New York. So it'll probably be 2 or 3 episodes, maybe not in a row, but 2 or 3 episodes staggered with Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. So I'll keep you updated on that. But let's take our break. See, I'm going to go on a tangent and then run late anyway. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this. Stay with us.
When I was in law school, my father had to stop working when he developed early Alzheimer's. Social Security disability benefits saved my parents financially. I'm Peter Gorton of Lockman & Gorton. Now I'm a lawyer who helps people when they need Social Security disability. If you can't work, I'd like to help.
For a free consultation, call Lockman & Gorton toll-free 1-800-698-0567.
Hey everyone, Emerald Lagasse here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my biggest air fryer yet. Introducing Emeril Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven with dual-sided cooking chambers. Now you can cook 2 different foods 2 different ways that finish at the same time. Enjoy juicy grilled burgers at the same time as air-fried French fries. Broiled savory salmon at the same time as roasted asparagus. The secret is in the QuickSync technology that matches the cooking times and settings of each food, so they're programmed to finish at the same time. But watch, remove the center divider and it transforms into a large 25-quart capacity oven. Now you can try Emeril Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven with free recipe book in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. But wait, we'll automatically upgrade you to his deluxe cooking kit and 1-year VIP protection plan absolutely free, complete with everything you need to cook Monday to Sunday family-size meals. Plus, ask how you can get free shipping. This offer will not last, so order now.
You're gonna love it, I guarantee it.
Getting aerial video for a commercial used to be extremely expensive, but not anymore. WYDC TV Big Fox now offers the Twin Tiers amazing aerial video for your business. We do it with our state-of-the-art drone and commercially licensed aerial pilot. Beautiful HD aerial video and pictures custom-made for your commercial. Call or email now to advertise on Big Fox TV and let everyone see your business in a whole new way.
We are back. Welcome. Sorry, had a couple technical issues. We are back, and I thank you for joining us, I should say, too. Frankly speaking, I'm your host, Frank Acom, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Received this comment. We were talking about Senator Menendez, Bob Menendez's sticky legal issues, receiving gifts or being charged with receiving gifts now. This is on top of the last charges from Qatar and new allegations and corruption scheme. Good point here. If they remove Menendez, they no longer have the majority. Yes, the majority in the Senate no longer to the Democrats. Maybe that's why this could be taking quite a while. I'm not sure. Last I knew, and I tried to look it up real quickly during the break, last I knew he was talking about running for re-election. I don't know if that ever fell through. I saw an article as of 2 weeks ago that said something to the extent of basically Democrats in New Jersey saying, just move on so we can actually start running a competitive fight there, a competitive race. But you know how sometimes that works out. All right, so, we've got some really good points here. I appreciate the comments. We're going to talk about Harvard in just a second, okay? I promise you, because you're right. There's a lot of issues going on there. Just quickly, the 6 issues that should be at the top of New York lawmakers' to-do list. This is coming from the Times Union editorial board. They're saying housing is still going to be a major issue, though I'm not sure how much will be done about this. There's been some back and forth on this. Obviously, as they put it here in a very kind way, the burgeoning immigration problem. Ms. Hochul should make maximum use of her bully pulpit and get other governors facing similar pressure to do the same, to press President Joe Biden and Congress to fix the nation's deeply flawed immigration system. I've got to ask, just with that sentence real quick, not to go on another tangent, but they've got to ask President Joe Biden, which that's what the sentence leads with, and Congress to fix the nation's deeply flawed immigration system. Hasn't it been the open border that porous too border that has been the agenda of the president from day one? So I'm not really sure. Congress, you hear a lot of people outspoken in Congress about it. A lot not, though, too. I just think it's more of a President Joe Biden issue, but I'll continue. We've also urged the state to take a broad look at the multiple crises in healthcare, a sector that is struggling with shortages of nurses. Yes, that's a major issue. Home health aides and nursing home workers, along with growing maternity care deserts. Better salaries, stronger enforcement of minimum staffing rules, and other incentives like tuition debt forgiveness are among some of the more obvious actions the state can consider. You got to start looking at the costs of those too. I mean, yes, we have to do something about it. What are those answers? I'm not sure. But we've also got to not always look at throwing money at the issue, though in this situation I think many of us would agree that nurses and home health care aides and nursing home workers deserve, especially after the early days of COVID, deserve much more, I'm sure, in their salaries. But continuing, and the legislature should get started immediately on fixing two of its worst mistakes in recent years. Go back to the drawing board to create truly independent commissions on both ethics and redistricting, because these would require changes to the state constitution, which need approval by 2 consecutive legislatures and a public referendum. Lawmakers should get both done this session so the next legislature in 2025 can follow through and get them on the ballot next year. And finally, and I'm not sure if they ended this way on purpose or not, but how about population decline, which we've talked so much about here on Frankly Speaking, of over 101,000 people last year and more than 630,000 since the start of COVID. It's not just political talking points anymore. It ought to concern everyone regardless of political party. But again, you've got to look at the policies in Albany that are creating this. I don't think they take a look at it seriously. Now, I'm not talking about the Times-Union. I'm talking about Albany. Because you look at the business climate, you look at public safety. Are they taking any of this seriously? I don't truly believe so. But I think that was more of an update I wanted to bring to you since yesterday's discussion on minimum wage, just a little bit more on New York. Okay, now let's jump to, as many people are commenting on already, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, which is Harvard. With Harvard's Claudine Gay resigning. But I think it should be and one of the viewers way ahead of me on this, you're right. It should be noted that even though she's leaving as president, she will still likely earn nearly $900,000 a year, despite forced to resign from her position as the school's top administrator. This coming from the New York Post. Political science professor Gay, who stepped down amid a tempest of allegations she did not do enough to combat anti-Semitism and academic plagiarism, will now return to a position on the school's faculty. Yes, because that's really going to weed out these problems that Harvard is having, the rot that we talk so much about. Prior to being named president just 6 months ago, she earned $879,079 as a Faculty of Arts and Science dean in 2021 and $824,068 in 2020. Her new position was not specified on Tuesday, but she is expected to receive a salary comparable with that what she previously received, if not higher. So she may be closer to the $1 million mark. This is after resigning as president because of plagiarism allegations, because of not doing enough to combat anti-Semitism. The list goes on and on, and that means you've learned your lesson on how to fix the problems in higher education. It's also unclear how much of her salary, meaning presidential salary, of roughly $1 million that she would be entitled to after only serving the post for 6 months. So yeah, does she get the full year? Elise Stefanik, who's been so outspoken about this, who is a Harvard graduate, she's been arguably the biggest critic, or having the best opportunity to be a critic, ripped the decision to allow her to remain on the faculty. Stefanik argued that Gay's plagiarism charges are an indelible stain that mars the school's legitimacy. And of course, we've seen this from students past and present who said, we would have been booted out from this quote-unquote prestigious university for these same charges. She's not fit to be a faculty member, Stefanik told the Post. It is unacceptable when you have students at Harvard who would be expelled for plagiarism to allow a faculty member who has nearly 50 examples of plagiarism in their very slim body of academic work. It's absurd, and everybody knows it. Harvard knows it too. Well, I think it basically shows that they're not taking this seriously. Yes, they're not happy with the, over $1 billion in lost donations. Yeah, they're probably not happy with that. But at the end, you've got people that have lived in an academic bubble their whole lives, almost from cradle till whenever they retire. And they're always surrounded by yes men. They're always being told that they're the smartest people in the room. So they don't care about the money. This is about some type of political agenda. This is about, hey, you leave us alone. We're academia. You're not supposed to question us. We have some examples of what students had to say about this as well. But the media, when someone gets caught with this is an interesting take on the media for just a second. When someone that they maybe support gets caught doing something like that, it's not to blame them or to question them. It's to blame the people that brought out the plagiarism issue. And that's what we saw at CNN's News Central. And CNN reporter Matt Egan stated that some of the initial plagiarism allegations against Claudine Gay, quote, came from activists. Not activists who were fired up about academic citation. It was really right-wing activists who feel that a lot of these Ivy League presidents are too liberal. Feel that they're too liberal. So that's why they call them out on plagiarism. So it's the right wing that are the problem in this scenario. And that's, to Egan's point, that's what they're thinking behind the scenes at the college or at the universities as well. And that the charges against Gay were, quote, more like copying other people's writings without attribution. And, quote, more sloppy attribution than stealing anyone's idea. So it was really, in all of this, to blame. It wasn't the downplaying of anti-Semitism, not being able to call out genocide. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't about her nearly 50 charges of plagiarism from a president of a university. The real problem were those that exposed it. The real problem were those that had the audacity to question academic elites. And some would argue, to use his phrase, if he's going to use right-wing, liberal elites. Stefanik also weighing in more than what she did on the Post. I should mention, we start to just use people's last names, but House Republican Conference Chair Representative Elise Stefanik said it should not have taken the Harvard Corporation Board this long to demand her resignation. And I believe as we continue our congressional investigation that we will uncover what will be the greatest scandal in higher education, because the Harvard Corporation members themselves are complicit in this cover-up of her plagiarism, and again, most importantly, their failure to protect Jewish students on campus. That's a very good point, something that maybe gets overlooked because they've tried to downplay it in a lot of the coverage of this. But yes, keeping Jewish students at Harvard safe and protected. But going back to the plagiarism, how did this corporation not know about this ahead of time? Were they covering it up? Stefanik suggesting maybe it's a cover-up more than an ignorance. But she continued before we go to break. This accountability should not have happened. This accountability would not have happened if it were not for that congressional hearing. And I think that it forced greater scrutiny of her position as the president of Harvard. And you have to remember, she was elected as president of Harvard in a shorter executive search than any other previous president. And they should have found out that there were 50 credible allegations of plagiarism. And the fact that the Harvard Corporation, we now know, knew about that before the congressional hearing and tried to cover it up and threaten media outlets to sue them is a disgrace. And that's another thing that's been overlooked. Harvard Corporation did threaten the New York Post. The New York Post seems to be in the middle of that a lot, don't they? Same with Hunter Biden and those type of things. We've got more on this when we come back. Please weigh in. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. But we've got to take another short break, so stay with us. This is, Frankly Speaking, here on WYDC TV. Big Fox will be right back.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselsen's Hot Tub. Hesselsen's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselsen's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselsen's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsen's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Is your closet cramped and cluttered? Is it impossible to find that shirt to wear and then even harder to fit it back in there? Not anymore. Introducing Space Triangles, the clever new hanging device that fits over any hanger to save you closet space in seconds. And now may be your last chance to get them for a low price. Now you can vertically hang multiple items, guaranteeing that you'll have up to 70% more space in your closet. Watch, your closet can go from messy to marvelous in no time with ease. And just look at all that extra space. Just place space triangles on each hanger and start hanging your clothing one after another, piece by piece. Daisy chain up to 6 shirts or more. The lower you go, the more closet space that'll show. The secret is the ingenious slip-over design that secures the hangers in a perfect vertical position.
This is hands down the easiest way to get more closet space. It took me just a few minutes to completely transform my closet, and now I can go shopping again.
It snugly fits all types of hangers, from plastic to wood to metal and velvet, and works with any type of clothing, from shirts and blouses to slacks and jeans, or designer dresses and big heavy suits. Stop searching through clutter for the right outfit. Now you can build an outfit and group it together, so it's easy to find. Even hang purses, belts, and more. Just slide the space triangles onto any hanger and start hanging. You'll instantly create closet space like never before. Order now to get an 18-piece set of space triangles for just $9.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get space triangles at this low price. But you must act fast. There is a strict limit of 1 closet pack per order while supplies last. Once they're gone forever. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-957-1518. That's 1-800-957-1518. Call or visit spacetriangles.com. So call 1-800-957-1518. Order now.
A beautiful morning here on Marcus Street in Corning. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Acom. This is Frankly Speaking. Boy, everybody's been sending just great messages. I'm sorry if I missed a few. I'm trying to catch up on all of them. The number on the bottom of the screen. We were talking about some issues that New York has to address. One being healthcare in the sense of nursing home shortages, nurses in general shortage, home healthcare. This coming from a viewer. Remove the socialist mandate of having to get the COVID shot. Problem solved for nursing. I know that was a major, major issue. At the time, a lot of people losing their jobs, taking that stand. Also, on a completely different topic, and that's the kind of show we're having this morning, but I love it. I gotta say, I think it's going well. Why is Gay allowed to continue in a faculty position or any other position at that university? Not to mention that salary? Unconscionable. Yes, it is shocking, and if you've noticed, that hasn't really been a part of the media's coverage. Yes, I brought you the New York Post and their coverage of it because they do a wonderful job, and others as well, Fox. But there's been so little mentioned of the fact that, they're saying how we've got to reform universities, we've got to do a better job, and then they say, but you're okay, you're not president anymore, but you're okay to do the same essential thing here in your faculty position. Sorry, I got something on my chin. All right, on my lip. Harvard's Claudine Gay resignation shows, and I quote, final corruption of most elite institutions. That says William Bennett, the former U.S. Department of Education Secretary. Excuse me. The American people do not need more discouragement towards the institutions they once looked up to, he said. Can Harvard recover? Yes. Will it recover? No. And I thought that was just such a great quote. But I mean, Harvard, and I can't remember where I saw it. I want to say it's a Post, and maybe we'll end up stumbling across it through my various topics here. But you've got to remember, is this actually it? This may actually be it. But the Harvard used to be kind of what people thought of as the standard. So if it's good enough for Harvard, we've got to try to emulate it. We've got to try to copy it, being the other universities. And that's what's led to this type of rot, anti-Semitism, whatever you want to call it, on college campuses. And that's Michael Goodwin mentioned at the Post this morning. Claudine Gay's obnoxious, self-flattering resignation is just the start. Did you read the resignation? But Harvard needs to answer what took so long. And that's been another major pushback on this. What took so long? Why was this not obvious right away? Because there was no legitimate case for letting her keep her job. Her departure was only a matter of time. But, I mean, yes, she's not president, but she's keeping a job making nearly $1 million. And will still, I'm sure, very much have influence and some type of say in decisions at Harvard. The members of the secretive governing board that threatened the New York Post and possibly others who dared question her background and qualifications. That alone should force them out of the shadows. That's the Harvard Corporation. The need to explain why they refused to make the decision to part ways with Gay sooner raises two major concerns. Why, in its vetting process, did the board not discover the numerous examples of her copying other people's work without giving credit? And as even the New York Times, though reluctantly admitted, the Post and private bloggers found problems the board couldn't find or didn't even try. And why, when rampant plagiarism emerged, did the board continue to ignore or downplay her unprofessional work when some examples that surfaced violate the standards Harvard imposes on faculty and students? Yes, okay, we understand maybe it's the same standards as on faculty, but you got to remember the students too. How many students, careers, you could argue life, because, you know, Harvard, pretty big, at one point, a pretty big addition to your resume. How many lives were ruined, careers were ruined because of maybe someone doing far less than 50 cases of plagiarism? And he goes on to talk about the enormous damage it did to Harvard's reputation. We brought that to you a couple weeks ago, where people were actually turning down their acceptance to Harvard, their early acceptance, because they didn't want that stigma that now Harvard affords, that at least at that time, and I believe it will continue, but that it could be seen as, not just from the major corporations and major billionaires and millionaires, they're saying they would never hire someone from Harvard any longer because of their response to the anti-Semitism on campus, but just in general, what once had an amazing reputation has now been chipped away at and is only eroded over time. The case illustrates the moral rot that has turned many of the nation's most prestigious campuses into leftist indoctrination factories. Put it this way, a prevailing ethos, this is a point, prevailing ethos in elitist circles is that if a practice or a pattern is good enough for Harvard, it's good enough for everyone else to copy. And so they did. One result is a poison of wokeness, including anti-Americanism and anti-white racism, infecting much of a generation. This is Michael Goodwin from the New York Post. The nonsense dished out by radical faculty substitutes far-left politics for academic rigor and makes a quasi-religion out of trigger warnings, safe spaces, and cancel culture. The resulting worldview that divides all humanity into oppressors and oppressed, based largely on race and nationality, is a breeding ground for the anti-Semitism that exploded on campuses following Hamas's savage attack on Israel. And of course, she deflected to the end. I don't know if we'll have a chance to talk about her resignation letter. Listen to this. In my presidency, a vision of Harvard that affirmed their sense of belonging, their sense that Harvard welcomes people of talent and promise from every background imaginable, to learn from and grow from one another. So imagine the self-flattery, even at the end. Interesting. We are running late. I know. For those of you keeping track at home, we are running late. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. Stay with us.
Don't ignore this notification from New York State of Health or risk losing your health insurance. When you hear from us, it's time to take action. Be on the lookout for a notification and follow instructions right away. Visit nystateofhealth.ny.gov or call 1-855-355-5777.
Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Legal Help Center, where we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and give you a free consultation. I'm Gina Belich, and I'm here with spokesman Rob Reese, and you can reach us by calling the number right on your screen. You can also email us at help@legalhelpcenter.com, or you can go ahead and just visit legalhelpcenter.com and submit a question there. So if you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, we have legal professionals available to answer your questions and let you know what your case is potentially worth. All right, Rob, let's let everyone at home know why they should be calling right now.
Anyone who's been injured in an accident, it was not your fault, and you do not have an attorney, you need to give us a call right now, because we're going to answer all of your questions. We'll let you know how much your case is potentially worth. You know, after you've been injured in an accident, it's a very scary and overwhelming time. You probably have a lot of questions. That's why the legal team is available to you today to answer your questions, to let you know how much money you can get for your accident. So don't go it alone.
It's great to see so many people getting the help they need. So Rob, let's also talk about the fact that the phones have been ringing off the hook. What kind of calls have you been seeing?
Gina, we're seeing calls from all kinds of accidents today, from car accidents to slip and falls. We've had a couple of work accidents, truck accidents, and a couple of motorcycle accidents as well. And those could be extremely scary. Those are typically very serious in nature. But the most common by far has been car accidents. So I encourage everyone watching at home, if you've been injured in an accident or someone you know has been injured in an accident that was not their fault and you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now. We're going to take the time to answer all of your questions with a free consultation and let you know how much your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. We'll be right back.
The singer is taking you to Funky Town.
It's the first group final. And shocking double elimination.
Oh my God.
Tonight. We are back, frankly speaking, here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. We are running late. I'm going to take another short break quickly, but here's another message from viewers. Everybody's been great this morning. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. Harvard's board is like the mainstream media on the Biden administration. Nothing to see here. That's a good point. I mean, they're really being called to the carpet because how did they not know about this plagiarism? Or if they did know, why was it covered up, or hoping that it would never be, would never see this, the light of day? Why was that the case? And there's some, I think it was Kirsten Fleming, that basically the concept is, they saw someone that was going to fit into what is a very strong push on college campuses, which is diversity, equity, inclusivity. And so they thought that this would be a good pick. And it turns out, of course, it was only a matter of time where maybe you could say that she wasn't prepared for what was going to happen with the anti-Semitism. And it's only grown further and further. What she says specifically is, good riddance, Claudine Gay. You and Harvard only have yourselves to blame for this putrid swamp. Her resignation letter, however, is about 3 weeks late, nearly a month that could have salvaged, at the very least, her academic reputation. And maybe that of the school, which has reportedly lost $1 billion in donations since that embarrassing display in Congress at that congressional hearing. Maybe it wasn't Christine. Meanwhile, members of the Crimson op-ed board admitted she plagiarized, but argued she lacked intent. Nice to know that intent conveniently matters again. Ultimately, they uncovered yet another vast right-wing conspiracy, saying the accusations were, quote, manufactured by conservative activists intent on discrediting higher education. But you can't blame the messenger for simply telling the truth that Harvard president wasn't fit to lead. We got to take that break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number.
We are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, we received a voicemail. Yes, Frank, why don't you talk about President Biden, who became president after he did the same thing that former Harvard President Gay was involved in. How about that? Talking about that. Yes, if you recall back in, how many people would know this anymore? If you followed whether it was last campaign, this campaign, what the media has had to say. But back in 1987, Joe Biden stepped down from his presidential campaign because of allegations of plagiarism. He has a long history of plagiarism. So is there something to be said there about academia, which is very much known for having left-leaning ideals, and someone like Biden, left-leaning ideals, and the quickness to go to plagiarism. Interesting. Let's see. My boy, I'm seeing all these great comments coming in. I've got to take one more break, so I'll try to get to it. Yes, someone else commented on this. Hannity is moving out of New York to the free state of Florida. I saw that. Just another example of what we brought to you on this program numerous times is the people that are leaving. And in this case, it sounds like because of the lack of freedom, which New York is voted as having the least amount of freedom. I want to say we're either 50th or 49th, meaning not good. So, yes, I was actually, if I'm being honest, I was surprised to hear that Hannity was still here. So let's take our last break. I'll try to get to the last few comments. We've got a couple quick things we're going to run through. Even though we started the program that way, we're going to end it that way too. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking.
Suburban Propane is here for your residential and industrial propane needs. Serving the surrounding area for over 95 years, we take pride in our reliable delivery service with 24/7, 365 emergency service answered by company representatives. Call today to start your Suburban Propane service.
You learn pretty fast that there are no shortcuts in racing or in life, so it's no surprise that there aren't any when it comes to hair loss either. One of my first attempts to deal with my own hair loss was a literal shortcut. Thankfully, my wife found Hair Club. I thought that nobody could understand how mortified I was to be losing my hair. So you can imagine how relieving it was to know that Hair Club's experts have already helped so many people with their hair loss. I was shocked that Hair Club had virtually every solution possible. If I had known about Hair Club sooner, I never would have tried any of those overhyped advertised solutions.
With over 120 locations, Hair Club is North America's largest provider of complete hair loss solutions. Whether you choose surgical, non-surgical, or restorative solutions, Hair Club has you covered.
If you're determined to get your hair back and live the life you deserve, just call Hair Club. You can get your own free personalized consultation with a hair loss expert and be on your way to the finish line in no time. Call now.
Call Hair Club now to schedule a free consultation and save 20% on select solutions using promo code Frankie. 800-205-4499.
I got for a fake.
Ooh! Which products rock and which are a crock?
The spoon that transforms flavor.
That doesn't make any sense.
Is it real or is it snake oil?
Tonight, we are back with Frankly Speaking. We're making this quick because we've got so much to get to. A great comment here. As far as plagiarism, I have to wonder how many positions have been filled in the recent years by incompetent, unqualified persons at major institutions everywhere, education or elsewise. Yeah, maybe a nod towards Washington there. The viewer also saying that they totally agree with the listener's recent message to you about the vaccine mandates. It was totally wrong. This meaning for nurses, if you're just joining us, medical professionals. In my opinion, medical personnel should be brought back with back pay, vaxxed or not. Thank you for those comments. Keep them coming in. This has been an amazing show. Also, receiving this from a viewer. Biden graduated 77 out of 85 at Syracuse. Thank you for that. All right. The Harvard board that covered for Claudia Gay must go too, according to the New York Post editorial board. Jewish groups did celebrate this decision, or this resignation, I should say. It should have happened sooner, though, which has been a common refrain. One person even saying, it's kind of like they didn't get Al Capone for murder, they got him for tax evasion. Yeah, it's almost as if they're blaming the plagiarism and not, the lack of keeping their Jewish students safe. Hey, Fox is going to host a Trump town hall during the CNN GOP primary debate. Fox News announced yesterday that it's planning to host a town hall with former President Trump in Des Moines, Iowa on January the 10th, airing at the exact same time as a CNN debate between GOP hopefuls. The Fox News town hall, set to air on January 10th from 9 to 10 p.m., will be co-moderated by Fox News' Brett Baier and Martha McCullum. Now, on the other side at CNN at the debate, it will only be Governor DeSantis and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. No one else qualified. Ramaswamy blasted that decision, saying establishment insiders will be on the CNN stage and outsiders will be speaking directly to the people. Now, if you're not familiar, CNN had a rule that the qualified candidates must receive at least 10% in 3 separate national or Iowa polls of Republican caucus goers or primary voters that meet CNN standards for reporting. One of the 3 polls must be, quote, an improved CNN poll of likely Iowa Republican caucus goers, the network added. This is coming from Fox. Ramaswamy saying, ratings wasteland CNN has not only guaranteed themselves the most boring presidential debate in modern history, with 2 career politicians reciting consultant-vetted talking points, but the network has exposed itself to be actively engaging in erroneous interference with the Iowa GOP caucus and disrespecting GOP voters. Censorship, cherry-picking polls, and legal threats are just the mainstream media's latest tactics to prop up their favorite puppet. Trump has appealed the decision removing him from the Maine 2024 primary ballot. There's a piece, we can't get to it, it's so biased. Will Trump's disqualification case be Bush versus Gore for 2024? And it goes through and hits on everybody. Republicans, not a fan. It was actually by James Zirin, an opinion contributor at The Hill. But basically hoping, wishing that the Supreme Court will decide against Trump. We live in interesting times, and many significant issues at home and away will play out this year. Unless the Supreme Court affirms the Colorado decision, we are in serious danger of electing an insurrectionist who violated his oath of office, a self-styled dictator who says he wants to terminate our precious Constitution. So again, to prove that we're pro-democracy, we have to be anti-democratic. Interesting. Robert F. Kennedy did qualify for the presidential ballot in Utah. That's the first state to grant him access. He got the signatures required. Just wanted to pass that along to you. Okay, we are out of time. Thank you to everybody who reached out this morning. What a great, lively conversation. We covered just about everything we possibly could. I can't thank you enough. But as always, you can continue this conversation after the program. I read the messages and throughout the day and hopefully get to them on tomorrow's broadcast. Speaking of tomorrow's broadcast, I hope you'll join us starting at 7 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox, I look forward to it already.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-977-4997. That's 1-800-977-4997, or go to getbullseyepro.com.